Hi everyone, it's Esther here. Today I have a beginner reformer workout, perfect if you're just getting started with reformer Pilates or if you want to just revisit fundamentals today. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be on 2 reds and a blue spring, and your headrest can be up or down for your footwork. Before we do that, let's just do a couple of shoulder shrugs here just to set those shoulders. So inhale as you bring those shoulders up to the ears. Exhale as you lower them down. Inhale as you elevate those shoulders up. Exhale as you depress those shoulders down. Let's keep them down here. And let's go ahead and lie onto our carriage. Again, headrest can be up or down. We'll lie right in the center of the carriage. Heels will go onto the foot bar about hips distance or grapefruit's distance apart from each other. Make sure you have a little bit of space between your shoulders and the shoulder blocks. Walk your fingertips down the mat. Suction cup the back of the arms into the mat from the fingertips, palms of the hands, all the way to the back of the triceps. Take an inhale here. Exhale as you press that carriage all the way out, straightening those legs. Inhale to bring it all the way in. Go ahead and check in with that spine here. Make sure it's in a nice neutral position. So tailbone is sinking heavy into the carriage. The entire of the back of the rib cage is also sinking into the carriage. You should have a small gap between your lower back and the carriage where the natural curvature of your spine is. We'll do a couple more like that. Just beginning to warm up the body here. Last 2. Last 1. Bring that carriage halfway in here. Give me small pulses, up an inch and down an inch. Going slow and controlled. Maintaining that neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Belly button pulling away from your pants and in towards the spine. Last 2. Last 1. Extend that carriage all the way out, then bring it all the way in. And then we'll slide down onto our toes. So all 10 toes are on the foot bar. And then we'll clip our heels together coming into our Pilates V. So heels together, toes apart. Your knees should be about the width of your shoulders. Inhale it here. Exhale as you extend that carriage all the way out. Then bring it all the way in. So heels are slightly elevated and try to keep them in that same spot here. So try not to let them move up or down. Legs up together as you extend that carriage out. Then the knees will naturally come apart as you come in. We'll do a couple more like this. Then hold that carriage extended all the way out. You're going to drop those heels under the foot bar and then lift them back up. Lower them down and lift them up. Really articulating through the ankles here. So take a moment to find that calf stretch as you lower it down. Take your time to articulate all the way up to your highest heel. Trying to keep those heels clipped together here. Now come all the way up to your highest heel. Bring the carriage in halfway. We'll do small pulses here. Up an inch, down an inch. Going slow and controlled. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Extend that carriage all the way out and bring it all the way in. Then let's slide our feet out to where they're wide on the foot bar, and then let's slide up to our heels. So your knees are turned out, your heels are pointed towards each other, toes are pointed away from each other here. And we're about shoulder width distance with our heels. Inhale it here. Exhale, extend that carriage all the way out. Then bring it all the way in. Checking in with that spine. Make sure it's still nice and neutral here. Going slow and controlled. We'll do a couple more here. Last one here. Let's bring it in halfway. Let's do small pulses here, up and down an inch. Slow and controlled with these pulses here. Last 2. Last one. Now let's hold it in our halfway position. We're going to turn the toes in towards each other as we bring the knees together, coming into internal rotation. Then we're going to turn the toes out as the knees point out. So your feet are moving with your knees, going in and out, trying to keep that carriage completely still as we do this. Working through internal, external rotation. Now hold it in your internal rotation. You're going to extend that carriage all the way out and bring it all the way in. All the way out, all the way in. The knees will come together as you bring it in, like your knock knee. They'll naturally come apart as you extend out. Let's do one more like that. Then come in halfway right to where your knees touch. You're going to do pulses here, up and down an inch. The knees may slightly come apart as you do these pulses. Last 3, 2, 1. Extend that carriage all the way out, then bring it all the way in. All right, and then let's parallel our feet, coming back to hips distance, heels on the foot bar. Reach back, make sure your headrest is all the way down flat. Go ahead and scoot yourselves away from the shoulder blocks so that you're not rubbing up against it. If you have a slippery shirt, like I have a slippery shirt right now, so I'm going to kind of grab onto the edge of the carriage here. Good. So feet are in a solid number 11, not turned out or in. Make sure your knees are in line with your ankles and knees in line with your hips. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to tuck the pelvis under, then begin to roll up one vertebra at a time, sending those hips up, finding your bridge, trying to keep that carriage pulled in. Good. Pause up here. Check in with your body. Make sure you're drawing a straight diagonal line from your knee to your hip to your shoulders. Apples distance between the chin and the chest. Slight tuck of the tailbone. Belly pulls in. Take an inhale here. Exhale as you begin to articulate down. Upper back, then middle back, then lower back comes down. Good. Finding one vertebra at a time into that carriage. Finding that neutral spine once you get down here. Inhale it here. Exhale, tuck that pelvis under, articulate all the way back up. Going slow and controlled here, trying to find each vertebra into that carriage. Engaging through the backs of the knee folds to hold that carriage in. Inhale it here. Exhale, articulate it down. One vertebra at a time. Good. Going nice and slow, trying to work down the spine evenly on both sides. Finding that neutral here. Inhaling. Exhale, tuck that pelvis under, roll it up. Keeping that carriage in, so think of pulling your heels towards your butt to help activate and keep that carriage in. Pause it up here. Do small pulses with those hips, up and down an inch, squeezing through those glutes here. Abs stay pulled in, keeping that apples distance between the chin and the chest. Last 3, 2, 1. Lift your hips about 1 inch higher. Inhale here, then slowly articulate it all the way down. One vertebra at a time. Going down nice and evenly here. Find that neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Good job. Now we're going to clip our heels together into our Pilates V. So heels together, toes apart, keeping those heels onto the foot bar. Knees are about shoulder distance apart. Find that nice neutral spine here. Take an inhale. As you exhale, you're just going to hinge your hips all the way up to the ceiling, sending those knees over the foot bar. Keep a flat back as you bring it all the way down. So we're just hinging up and down here. Exhaling up and inhaling down. Don't get too caught up in the breath, but bring that attention towards those glutes. So we're squeezing those glutes, keeping that carriage all the way into the stopper the entire time. Good. 2 more like this. On this last one, let's hold those hips lifted. Small pulses here, up an inch, down an inch. Slow and controlled, really squeezing through those glutes. Keeping that carriage pulled in. Last 2, last 1. Lift those hips a little higher. Slowly come all the way down with a flat back. Keep that carriage in the entire time. Great job. Bring the knees into the chest. Rock side to side here. Give your spine a little reset before we move on. And then let's come up for a second. We're just going to change our spring to 1 red and 1 blue spring. Headrest can be up or down. We're going to go into some hands and straps here. So let's lie all the way back down. Scoot yourself away from the shoulder blocks. Make sure you have about 2 inches there between the blocks and your shoulders. You're going to grab onto the short loops. Arms extend long up to the ceiling. Wrists are going to be right over the shoulders here. So find that alignment. Let's glue those legs together. Then bring your right leg into tabletop. Bring your left leg into tabletop. Good. And try to find that solid tabletop here. So imagine like you have your favorite drink resting on top of those shins, and you don't want that drink falling onto your face. So try not to do this number, then it's going to fall on top of your face. Try to find that solid tabletop. Good. Now from here, take an inhale. Exhale as you press through the arms, lowering those hands down right by the hips. Then inhale it back up. Option to add a chest lift here as you press down. Option to add a single leg stretch here. So one leg extends, then bring it back. Then the other leg extends. Each time you press down, pull those abs in, pull that belly button in towards the spine. Good. Keep those fingertips nice and long. Keep those wrists nice and straight. We'll do a couple more here. Last one. Lower your head down, legs come back into tabletop, arms extended up to the ceiling. Bring them out to a T and back up. Trying not to let the carriage move as you come out to your T and back up. Everything in the body stays still. We're just moving those arms down and up. Now let's hold them down into our T. Press the hands right by the hips. Lift them back up to the ceiling and then out to your T. So going into arm circles here. Option to add that chest lift as you press by the hips. Maybe you want to try a double leg stretch here as you press down, or you can stay with that single leg stretch if you'd rather do that. If your neck is bothering you today, just keep that neck lowered. And just really focus on pulling those abs in each time you press. Now hold the arms extended up to the ceiling. We're going to switch directions. So we're going to press it down by the hips, out to the T, and up to the ceiling. Press it down. Find your T and up. We'll do a couple more like this. Last two. And one. Good. Let's lower everything down. Bring that carriage in. Hang up those straps. Reach back. Grab onto those pegs where those straps live. You're going to drop your knees over towards the TV or over towards the phone. as you bring that gaze in the opposite direction. Check in with those ankles here. Check in with those knees. Try to get them stacked directly on top of each other. Try to keep both shoulders pressed down into the carriage. Each time you inhale, try to laterally expand through those lungs. Each time you exhale, try to knit those ribs together. Pull those abs in. We'll take one more deep breath here. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Now come back to center and we'll switch sides. So we'll drop the knees away from the phone or camera or TV. Bring your gaze towards me and breathe into it here. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's do 2 more breaths here. Knit those ribs together as you exhale. Expand through the lungs as you inhale. And then let's come back up to center here. Let's sit back up. And then let's change our spring to 1 blue spring. So 1 blue spring, and then we're going to come onto kneeling onto the reformer and sort of bring your thighs to where they're almost pressed up against the shoulder blocks here. And then you'll take your hands, you're going to place them onto the frame of the reformer. And then let's find that nice quadruped position. So try to find that positioning where your knee is in line with your hips and then to where your shoulders are directly above your wrist. And then let's try to flatten out our back. So think of pushing yourself away from the carriage so that you're not sinking into those shoulders. So push yourself away and then engage those shoulder blades down the back. Pull those lower abs in, rib cage in. Good. Now from here, you're going to inhale. As you exhale, you're just going to bend those knees in, trying to maintain that flat back as you do this. We'll do about 4 more here. As you pull those knees in, try to pull that belly in towards the spine. Try to maintain that nice straight spine, so try not to sink. Last 2. Last 1. Hold it in here. Let's do small little bits here. 1-inch pulses. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's extend it all the way back out. We're going to go into child's pose here. So scooch back a little bit. Then bring your butt to your heels. Extend those arms long out in front of you. Breathing into it. Breathing in through the nose. And let it all go. Then let's round through the spine to roll all the way up to seated. We'll bring the legs in front of us. And then let's change our spring before we move forward to 1 red spring. Then we'll take that blue one off, so just 1 red spring here. So we're sitting crisscrossed, still facing the shoulder blocks. And we're going to grab onto the short loops here, place them in our hands, and we'll have our arms long by your sides. And then sit up nice and tall here, so try to find a straight spine. Imagine like you have a string coming through the crown of your head, pulling you up to the ceiling. Good. Now from here, take an inhale. Then exhale as you press those palms back, trying to bring those shoulder blades together. Inhaling it forward. Pressing it back and forward. Think of really pulling those shoulder blades together, like you have a walnut in between those shoulder blades and you're trying to crack that walnut. Really opening up through the chest, finding that nice, beautiful posture here. Now hold the arms back, take an inhale here. Exhale as you look towards me. Try to reach that chin over the shoulder. Inhale at center. Exhale, other side. Reaching that chin, finding that stretch here in that cervical spine. Inhale, center. Exhale it over. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side. Last one. Come back to center. Relax those arms. And then we're going to extend them long out in front of us. And then I want you to look at your wrist. Make sure they're directly in line with your shoulders and the same width as your shoulders. And then imagine like you have a table underneath your elbows, so you can't drop them underneath that table. From here, you're going to bend up the elbows, press the hands back to where they're right by your ears, then extend them nice and long here. Pressing it back, bending through the elbows, going into our bicep curls. And really try to keep that straight spine, so try not to lean back into it here. Keep those shoulders stacked right over the hips. We'll do 2 more like this. 1 more. Let's hold it back here. We'll do micro bends back here. So just little 1-inch micro bends forward and back. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Extend the arms long out in front of you. And we'll do micro bends here. Working through that front part of the bicep here. Try to keep even pressure into those straps. Last 3, 2, 1. Fold your arms to around a 90-degree angle. Imagine like your forearms are pressed against a wall in front of you, and let's slide those forearms up and down that wall like we're poking holes in the ceiling with our fingertips. Make sure your fingertips are nice and long, energy sending out through those tops of the fingertips here. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and relax it down. You can kind of roll over the front of your body here, finding that C-curve position. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. 1 more breath like that. And let it all go. Roll yourself all the way up to seated. Then let's turn to face me. You're going to take the shin closest to the shoulder block. You're going to press it up against it. Fold that other leg in front of you, so we're kind of like in a Z sit here. And then we'll stay on one red spring. One hand is going to find that footrest. And then you're going to place that other hand onto your hip here. And then from here, we're just going to send that hip forward, so that butt cheek's going to come off of the carriage as we sort of rotate towards the foot bar. Then you're going to rotate back as you set that hip down. Try to find that connection with the carriage here. So just sort of opening up the hip. It's a nice little stretch here. And finding awareness of what it feels like to keep that hip down into the carriage. Let's do 1 more like that. Lifting that hip up. And then lowering it back down. Keep that hip down into the carriage. You're going to bring that arm out to the opposite side of you. Take an inhale as you reach that arm up. Exhale as you push the foot bar away from you. Push that carriage out, coming into your side flexion here in your mermaid stretch. Think of somebody tickling underneath the side body there. So we're really lifting up away. We're not coming into a straight spine. Inhale it all the way up. And then we're going to go to the other side. Inhaling center. Exhaling, reaching up and over. Inhaling center. And up and over. Inhaling center, other side. And really think of shining your chest forward. Don't let it drop down. And same with this side. Keep that chest shining forward. Don't let it rotate to the floor. If anything, rotate more up to the ceiling. One more here. Now let's reach it over towards the foot bar. And then you're going to rotate your chest down towards the springs. The other hand's going to find that foot bar. And then you're going to continue to press that carriage out as you drop your chest towards the floor. Finding that stretch here. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We'll hold it for one more breath. It's the holding it that really helps you find that flexibility here. Now bring that carriage all the way in. And then we're going to turn to face the foot bar. You'll bring your heels onto that gray sticky surface in front of you and about the width of that gray sticky surface. So the width of your reformer here. Sit up nice and tall. Now, if you have trouble sitting up nice and tall with those legs extended, you can sort of bend at the knees and see if that helps you find more length in your spine. Now, nice and tall, you're going to inhale the arms out in front of you, then exhale them out to a T. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to rotate over towards me. And then you're going to reach your pinky finger to that pinky toe. Do 2 pulses down here. And then come all the way back up. Inhaling center. Exhale other side. Like we're sawing off that pinky toe with our hands. Coming all the way up. And sawing down the other side. Try to really reach through those fingertips. Like you're reaching them away from each other. So it's like an oppositional pull. Every time you rotate, pull those abs in. See, curving it down to saw. We'll do one more each side. It feels so good. This is like one of my favorite exercises. Inhaling center. Exhaling it down. And back up to center. Lower those arms down. And then we're going to turn to the other side to do our mermaid on the other side here. So shin is going to go up against the shoulder block. One hand finds the foot bar, other hand on the hips. Let's do those little hip stretches first. So you're going to lift that butt cheek off of the carriage as you rotate towards the foot bar. Then press it back down. Rotating as you lift. And then press that hip down. Let's do one more here. Lifting that hip. And then finding that connection into the carriage. Keep that connection here. Arm comes out to the side. Inhale it here. Exhaling it up and over as we press that carriage out away from the stopper. Finding that lateral flexion here. Inhaling it up. And then flexing over to the other side. Hand finds that headrest. Inhale up. Think of creating a rainbow shape with that side body here. And up, going towards that headrest. And up, pressing that carriage out, finding that deep lateral flexion. And up. One more towards that headrest. Hand finds that foot bar. One more towards that foot bar. And then let's rotate. Other hand finds that foot bar. Push that carriage out even more, allowing your chest to drop towards that spring well. Breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more breath cycle here. Bring that carriage all the way in. Let's turn to face the foot bar. Let's change our springs to one red and one blue. So we're just going to add on a blue spring here. One red, one blue spring. And then headrest can be up or down for your legs and straps. Let's lie down onto the carriage. Right in the center there. Feet will find the foot bar. Grab onto the long loops. Press that carriage all the way out. Then place one foot into one of the straps. Put pressure into that strap. Then your other foot will find the other strap. Good. Once you find that, let's extend the legs up to the ceiling. Try to straighten out those legs, tightening through the quads here. Feet will be in parallel, so not turned out or in. And then let's find that neutral spine, neutral pelvis. So press the back of the tailbone into the mat, entire back of the rib cage into the mat. Ribs closed in, knitted together, belly pulled in towards the spine. And then go ahead and take your hands. Let's place them on your lower abs. And then try to pull those abs away from the hands. And then let's try to keep that engagement here as we lower the feet down towards the foot bar, keeping those legs straight. Finding that point where you're able to just keep those abs in. So if at any point the abs pop up into the hands, then you've gone down too far. So let's try to find that range of motion where we're able to keep the abs pulled away from the hands. Going back up to the ceiling, keeping that tailbone sink down into the mat. So don't let it lift up like this. Keep it heavy into that mat. Lowering it down. And lifting it up, going nice and slow and controlled here. Lower it down. And lift it up. We'll do one more like this. And we're really just trying to keep the legs moving on an even schedule. And back up. Now let's go into external rotation. So heels together, toes apart. And let's lower and lift that way. Again, keeping those abs pulled in the entire time, not letting them pop out. Keeping that tailbone heavy into the carriage. Going nice and slow and controlled. Making sure both feet are turned out evenly. And that they're moving on the same schedule. Good. Now on this next one, we'll meet with our legs in 45, so extended over the foot bar. You're gonna flex into the feet as you bend those knees in towards your shoulders, not going much past the hip complex. So don't bring the knees in too far. We'll just keep them kind of right over the hips. And then we'll press through the heels to extend those legs long. So bending through the knees here. And then pressing it out. So the knees will naturally come apart as you bend them in. And then the legs will zip together as you straighten them. Let's do two more here. extending it out, bending it in, and extending it out. Point those toes, bring the legs back up to the ceiling into your 90. We're going to draw circles here, staying in external rotation. So you're going to go out, around, and down. You'll meet in the middle and come back up through the center line. Trying to draw nice, even, beautiful circles here. So both legs are working on the same schedule. Still trying to keep those lower abs pulled in. Finding that range of motion where you're able to do that. Tailbone is still sinking heavy into the mat. Let's do one more circle like this. Meet me with your legs up to the ceiling, and then we'll switch directions with those circles, going down through the center line, out and around, and back up. Down through the center, out and around, and back up. Trying to stay in that external rotation and just really noticing what that feels like in the body to do that. Last one here. Meet me up top, and then we'll go into our parallel position, and then we'll draw circles that way, starting out and around, meeting down in the center and up through the center line, and really paying attention to those feet, seeing if they want to turn out or if you're able to keep them in a parallel position, and just noticing the difference there. So for a lot of us, if we walk with our feet turned out, they're going to want to turn out here. And you may actually find it difficult to stay in parallel. I started off life internally rotated, so I have the opposite problem. Meet me with your legs extended up to the ceiling. Go down through the center, out and around, and back up, trying to keep that parallel position with those feet, trying to keep even pressure into those straps. So really use those loops as feedback to your body so that you know what those feet are doing. Nice, even, beautiful circles. Let's do one more this way. Good. Now meet me with your legs extended up to the ceiling. Then let's lower them down to our 45. You're going to draw your right heel in towards your pelvis as you send the left leg out to the side. Then meeting in the center in your 45. And then we'll switch to the other side. So left heel draws in towards the pelvis, right leg out, and center, and to the left, and center. And I like to bring my hands to my hips here just to get that feedback from the hips. So the goal is to not let them rock side to side. We want to keep them parallel to each other. So oftentimes when we go this way, our hip wants to come up like this. So try to keep that tailbone glued down into the carriage. Breathing into it here. Don't forget to breathe. Last one on each side. So going to the left and center, and let's even it out. And let's just stay here to the right for a moment. And then take your hands, place them right in the middle of your inner thighs, and let's just gently press down, really opening up those hips here. Breathing into it, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Meet me in the middle, and then let's go over to that left side, finding that hip opening stretch here, pressing into those inner thighs, trying to keep even pressure in those hips, keeping them parallel to each other. And then meet me back in your 45. Send the legs up to the ceiling. You're going to grab onto the rope. So for me, it's those little knots, but for you, it might be like the metal hardware or as high as you can grab up while keeping your legs nice and straight. So if your knees are bending here and you're not able to straighten them, maybe lower them down and grab further down onto the ropes and try to find that straight leg, and then try to then pull your feet towards your face, flexing all 10 toes back. So even look at that pinky toe, see if it's flexed back or not. Try to flex all of those toes back. Try to send those heels up to the ceiling. And just breathe. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Keeping that tailbone heavy into the carriage, so don't let it come up like this. Then you're just cheating yourself out of that stretch here. And then we'll bring our legs out to the side, finding your straddle stretch here. And then if you want a deeper stretch, try to pop that booty out, arch through the back, and then pull the feet in towards the face here. And just breathe, try to relax into it here. One more deep breath in. And exhale it out. Then bend your knees in towards your elbows. The bottoms of the feet will go up to the ceiling, finding your happy baby stretch here. You can try to find that arch through the back if that feels good for you. You can rock it side to side, massaging out that spine here. And then bring the bottoms of the feet together like they're praying. The knees will butterfly out. And then you're going to send those feet down into the spring well. The ropes will become like suspenders over your body here. And then just relax into it. You can let your arms hang out over. I lost my words there. Your arms can hang out to the sides. The palms can face up to the ceiling. And just really take a moment to connect with your breath here. Breathing in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Just really thanking yourself for all the hard work you've done today. We're not done yet, though. We have one more exercise after this. So don't leave me yet. All right, so let's come up. Take your feet out of the straps, 1 foot at a time. Take your time. Be nice and safe here. Then you're going to sit up. You're going to change your spring to just one yellow spring. And then we're going to come to the back of the reformer here. So we're going to kind of stand like in the middle of the frame here. And then we're going to put our hands onto the shoulder blocks. We're going to walk the feet back, extend those arms nice and long in front of you, finding that L stretch. So sending those hips sort of right over the ankles here. Allowing that chest to sink heavy down towards the floor, extending those arms nice and long out in front of you. So feet are really just kind of in a parallel hips distance position. And look at your feet. Make sure they're in a solid number 11, so they're not turned out or turned in here. Find that number 11 shape. Take an inhale here. Exhale as you round through the spine. You're going to kind of bring that reformer in towards you. Pull that belly in. And then release it out, allowing that chest to sink down to the floor again. Exhaling as you pull that carriage in. And inhaling it out. So it's almost like a little standing cat-cow here. One more like this. Extend it all the way out. Let that chest sink down to the floor. Take one more big inhale here. Exhale, let it go. Allow that carriage to dock all the way into the stopper if it's not already. Then you're going to walk your feet forward. Keep those hands onto the shoulder blocks, rounding through the spine here. Good. Now take an inhale here. Exhale, you're just going to roll it up, stacking one vertebra at a time. Head is the last thing to come up. Once you're up here, roll those shoulders up and down the back. And we are finished.